A very good evening, and thanks for clicking on to the Sunday edition of Vogan's European Outlook. Want to look at the current sea surface temperature anomalies globally and some of the concerns, but also some of the positives with regards to the potentials for the upcoming winter season. As promised, I said I would do a video this evening, or indeed today, with regards to how we're looking at the moment. Of course, I've up until now talked about the solar cycle, the fact that we are some 18 months or so into the new solar cycle, so cycle 25. And folks, I'm not going to for a second turn around and suggest that I know the details about the scientific stuff that goes in behind the solar cycle and whatnot. But to the best of my understanding, the of course the solar cycle is generally on average an 11-year cycle between minimum and maximum. Typically, when you've got more of a solar maximum, you tend to have a kind of warmer planet, more in the way of El Ninos, and the temperature on Earth tends to go up. Winters in the British Isles tends to be warmer. We tend to have more of a positive Arctic oscillation, North Atlantic oscillation. Winters tend to be wetter and windier, warmer, and generally around about the time when we're about to approach a solar minimum, you quite often see an unusually warm winter, an unusually strong polar vortex, an unusually positive Arctic oscillation, North Atlantic oscillation. We've seen that in the winter of 2019-20, and of course we had a somewhat colder winter last year. We've seen it also back in 2007, just ahead of the solar minimum that occurred at the end of 2008. We've seen one of the warmest winters on record, 06 and 07 and 07, 08. Very warm winters, stormy as well, and that was followed by a kind of somewhat colder winter in 2008-9. And of course 2009-10 followed that, and the solar minimum, it was generally about 18 months or so. So you've got a kind of lag effect of the solar minimum versus the colder winter. But of course, in the last decade, no question about it, the planet has warmed. The oceans have warmed. And without getting into any great detail, we know that the baseline in terms of global temperature has came up. There's no denying that. There's no, I'm somewhat of a kind of sit on the fence type of person with regards to the global warming aspect. I do believe that there is a global warming. However, that being said, I'm not a strong believer that carbon dioxide is the cause of that warming. I think water vapor, warmer water in the global oceans, releasing more water vapor, increasing the temperature on Earth. But in the last several winters in particular, what I've noticed is that the North Pacific has had a warm pool of water just within the Gulf of Alaska region, and that has tended to have some extreme effects in terms of cold and also warm over North America. And when you have that warm water over the North Pacific, that has tended to have a downstream effect of enhancing the North Atlantic jet stream. And we've seen that back in the mid-2010s, for example, when it was at a peak, and we had some very stormy weather, very cold winter across parts of the eastern half of the United States. But because of the increase in high pressure over that region, sending the polar vortex in lobes into the eastern and central United States, forcing that extreme cold into the eastern half of the United States versus the warmth in the Caribbean, enhanced the jet stream to record breaking levels. We've seen, of course, record short flight times between New York and London as a response of that 250, 280 mile per hour plus jet stream crossing the Atlantic. So that North Pacific warmth, in a sense, was a big negative in terms of the cold and blocking over the North Atlantic. But what I'm interested in seeing is that we're seeing cold now starting to develop to the south of Alaska, as you can see here in this chart. I know this is not a great chart. It's not very clear for you to see. But what I'm very, very interested in, folks, is this cooling that is now taking place. And there is somewhat of a horseshoe developing from Hawaii towards California. And we may start to see the cold pool south of Alaska hooking up with this kind of ribbon, this tongue of cooler waters extending from, towards the date line towards California here. So that is a positive. That's something I do want to see in terms of a stronger Aleutian low. We've got more of a ridge further east, because it doesn't typically favour when you've got that warm water over the North Pacific and you've got the high pressure in response to that. It doesn't really typically favour greatly for North Atlantic and Greenland blocking. So that is a positive. One of the couple of the I'm kind of jumping back and forward here. One of the negative aspects that I'm concerned about is the strength of the La Nina. Most of the models, general consensus, weak to borderline moderate La Nina. If it was to go strong, which some of the outliers do have, that could have the same impact as what a strong El Nino would have to the Western European winter pattern. I think that would be a negative. So one of my slight concerns is with the La Nina, the strength of which it comes on, and that could have a negative impact in terms of the winter overall. Another aspect that I'm quite concerned about is the Madden-Julian oscillation. Of course, it's a pulse of enhanced convective activity that generally has a kind of 30, 60 to 90 day cycle around the world. So this pulse enhances areas of thunderstorms through the tropics. But one of my concerns is, and that is a big player in terms of release of energy, heat. It controls the high pressure, low pressure. It in fact probably had a significant impact on the record strong polar vortex back in the winter of 1920. But one of my concerns is that warm water surrounding Indonesia, which we've got at the moment, by the way, could enhance the Madden-Julian oscillation in this region here, so West Pacific through the continental maritime region. What you really want to do is start to warm up the waters in the Indian Ocean, or cool down the waters to an extent over the Indonesia. So in a sense, what you're wanting to see is the Madden-Julian oscillation focusing on the central and eastern Indian Ocean basin for its amplification and enhancement of thunderstorms here. So there are a couple of aspects that I'm a wee bit concerned about. La Nina, the Madden-Julian oscillation, the warm sea surface temperatures surrounding Indonesia, and it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. So North Atlantic, interesting, very, very warm, exceptionally warm. However, what we're starting to see is a little bit of cooling over the North Atlantic between eastern Canada, which is very, very warm, as you can see. Between here and the UK and Ireland, we're starting to see neutral colours, whites showing up, which indicates some sort of cooling taking place. That would be a good thing, because in a sense what you want to see is warmth surrounding Greenland, a strip or an area of cool, followed by warm, and then even cool down towards the tropics. That's your tripole of warm, cold, warm. That has an enhancing effect of potential blocking high pressure over the North Atlantic, extending into Greenland here as well. So that's interesting to see that here. Here is the 7 day temperature change within the global sea surface temperatures here. Notice a couple of things. Very strong cooling south of Alaska, west of Canada. We're seeing cooling over the Indian Ocean basin, which is quite interesting. And to an extent over the western portion of Indonesia, we're seeing cooling as well. We're also starting to see a little bit of warmth showing up here, which would indicate that perhaps we've got that weak La Nina here taking place. So there has been, in the last several weeks, strong indication that we're seeing the onset of the La Nina. But this, certainly over the last 7 days at the very least anyway, I know it's a lot more complex than what I'm making out here, but you're starting to see the waters kind of neutralize, kind of cap off, so to speak, so that we're not seeing that enhanced, strong cooling continuing to take place, which would indicate, that the La Nina is maturing and potentially going towards a moderate or strong episode here. So that, in a sense, is a good thing. And then you notice here that it's evident here in the 7 day change between the UK and the central North Atlantic. We're seeing that cooling taking place here, which I think is quite important as well here. So in terms of global sea surface temperature anomalies here, I think it's looking fairly decent in terms of the overall setup here. So, like I said back at the start, solar minimum, quite often, especially just after the solar minimum takes place. Of course, we had that at the end of 2019, if I'm right in saying. You typically see more in the way of blocking a negative Arctic oscillation, negative North Atlantic oscillation. And if you go back to previous years, you can actually see that being the case. So, of course, if I can try and get this as easy as possible for you to see, you can see that here. So, we had at the end of the so if you go back to the late 90s, early 2000s, the previous that solar minimum was seen. If you notice here, the blues represent negative in terms of the North Atlantic oscillation, and of course the reds indicate positive. And if you notice here, this is the year 2000 right here, and we've seen a solar minimum take place here. We've seen strong positive North Atlantic oscillation, so stronger jet stream, less in the way of cold, stormier conditions, followed by a prolonged period of negative in terms of North Atlantic oscillation. We also seen that taking place around the time of the previous solar minimum, so at the end of 2008. We've seen the same thing. We had a period of positive North Atlantic oscillation followed by negative here, and the most negative was around the 2010-2011 period, as you can see at the very bottom of the chart. And then most recently, 2020-21, we've seen that last year, and I expect to see that continuing this year. And there is good model guidance, folks, that indicates that yes, we're seeing a strengthening of the polar vortex. That is a good thing. We need to see that. However, there is also strong model guidance indicating that we're going to start to see a weakening of the polar vortex here as we go forward here. So at the moment, nice and strong, nice vertical column within the polar stratosphere. That would explain why we're seeing a stronger jet stream at the moment. Windier, wetter conditions here. A nice break, if you will, from the doldrums of late summer and, of course, during the course of